It was a quiet morning in a small countryside town, where life moved slowly and every face was familiar. Ethan, a humble mechanic in his early 40s, was already at his garage before the sun had fully risen. Grease-stained hands, a flannel shirt, and worn-out boots told the story of a man who had worked hard every day of his life. He was raising his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, all alone after losing his wife to a car accident 3 years earlier. Since then, every moment, every repair job, and every dollar earned had been for Lily. Despite his modest life, Ethan found comfort in the honesty of his work and the love of his daughter. They didn't have much, just a small house near the garage and an old pickup truck, but they had each other. Lily would sit in the garage after school, doing her homework on an overturned oil drum while her father worked. She loved watching him fix things, often asking questions he patiently answered. To her, he was not just her dad, he was her hero. One chilly autumn morning, as golden leaves danced across the gravel road, a beat-up farm truck rolled into Ethan's garage, coughing and sputtering. The woman driving it looked as tired as the vehicle. Her name was Claire, dressed in dusty overalls, boots caked with mud, and a faded baseball cap pulled low over her eyes. She seemed like any other hard-working farmer trying to make it through another season. "My truck's been acting up all morning," she said. "Stalled out twice on the way here. Can you take a look?" Ethan nodded. "Sure thing. Might take a while, though." "That's fine," she said. "I've got time." Claire wandered over to the small waiting area, sipping coffee from a thermos. From a distance, she watched Ethan work, careful, focused, treating the old truck with as much care as a surgeon would a patient. What Ethan didn't know, and what Claire had kept carefully hidden, was that she was no ordinary farmer. Claire was the daughter of Abigail Wentworth, a renowned real estate magnate and philanthropist. Her family owned thousands of acres of farmland across the state, much of which had been passed down through generations. But Claire had chosen to step away from the glamour of family wealth, determined to live a life grounded in hard work and authenticity. She had taken a small piece of land far from the city and worked it herself, determined to understand the struggles of those less fortunate and to one day use her position to make a difference with real empathy. Watching Ethan reminded her of everything she had set out to find: honesty, humility, and the quiet strength that could only come from hardship. As the hours passed, Ethan discovered that the truck needed more than a quick fix. Its fuel line was nearly corroded through, and the ignition coil was failing. Claire sat nearby, occasionally helping Lily with her spelling homework while Ethan worked. The bond between the father and daughter touched her deeply. Lily, ever curious, leaned over to Claire and asked, "Do you work on a farm like my dad works on cars?" Claire smiled. "Kind of, but I work with plants and animals instead of engines." "That sounds fun," Lily said. "My daddy says fixing things is like magic. You take something broken and make it whole again." Claire's heart ached at the innocence and warmth in Lily's voice. By sunset, Ethan had finished the repairs, staying later than usual. He wiped his hands on a rag and approached Claire. "Your truck's good to go. I replaced the fuel line and checked the ignition. She should run smooth now." Claire nodded, grateful. "Thank you. How much do I owe you?" Ethan scratched the back of his head, clearly uncomfortable. "Well, parts were about $150. Labor, let's just call it 50. Only 50 for all that work?" Claire asked, surprised. "I know times are tough for farmers," he said. "Just trying to help when I can." Claire looked into his eyes and saw no trace of pity, just kindness. She paid the bill without argument, but something inside her stirred. She couldn't just walk away and leave this man and his daughter behind, not when they had given her a glimpse of what the world could be like with a little more compassion. Over the next few weeks, Claire found excuses to come back: an oil change, a strange noise in the engine, even a flat tire she could have fixed herself. Each visit allowed her to spend more time with Ethan and Lily. Slowly, they became friends. Ethan, though guarded at first, began to open up. He told her about losing his wife, about the nights he sat awake worrying if he could provide for Lily. Claire listened with genuine care, never revealing her background. Then, one rainy afternoon, Claire's secret came to light. Lily had stayed home from school due to a fever, and Claire brought over homemade soup. As she sat by the couch reading Lily a story, the local newspaper slipped from Claire's bag. On the front page was a photo of Claire in a formal gown, standing next to her mother at a charity gala. Ethan picked it up, stunned. Claire Wentworth, the Wentworth estate. Claire looked up, caught off guard. "I wanted to tell you, Ethan. But I didn't want you to treat me any differently. I'm still me. I just didn't want my name to get in the way of something real." Ethan stared at her, torn between admiration and confusion. Why hide it? Because people see the money and not the person. But you saw me. You treated me like anyone else. You welcomed me into your life without knowing who I was, and I needed that more than I ever realized. There was silence between them for a moment. Then Lily, still sniffling but alert, looked up and said, "Is she a princess, Daddy?" Claire chuckled. "No, sweetheart, just someone who wants to help people." Ethan finally smiled. "Well, you sure helped us." Over the coming months, Claire used her resources quietly to support the town. She sponsored a fund for local single parents, helped rebuild the school's library, and donated new equipment to Ethan's garage, always insisting it was for the community, never just for him. But it wasn't long before love quietly bloomed between them. Their connection had never been about wealth or status, it was about shared values, mutual respect, and the way they both saw the world. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in soft amber hues, Claire and Ethan stood outside the garage, watching Lily chase fireflies. "I never thought I'd find someone who understood what it means to start over," Ethan said softly. Claire looked at him, eyes filled with emotion. "Sometimes, starting over is the best way to find where you truly belong." They held hands in silence, comforted by the knowledge that while their story had started in an ordinary garage, it had grown into something extraordinary, an unspoken promise that love, no matter where it begins, has the power to heal even the deepest wounds. And so, in that little town where nothing much ever changed, something beautiful had quietly taken root, a story of heart, second chances, and the quiet strength of a single dad who unknowingly won the heart of a millionaire heiress simply by being himself.